Let me start with a summary of my journey. It's not meant for me to glorify myself or give me much pride that I have achieved, but I do hope you're able to encourage everyone, or you may resonate too. Do not underestimate the power of one mind. Never give up. Do you ever give up breathing? I'm a school leaver at the age of 15. Before joining the army, I did many different types of jobs. Spent 16 years in the army as a cook, driver, a storeman, a clerk, and eventually a special forces operator. Started 5 startups, and here I am. Let's take a trip back 6 years ago and imagine I'm a very sick, skinny, and weak man. I'm there because I have dengue fever and hyperthyroidism, one after another, and due to that, it hurt just to breathe. Have you ever wondered what is meant to require strength to breathe? It took me all my energy just to do something like this. Giving up was not a choice. I have to hold on to it. I started my career at the age of 15. With my qualifications, I could only start from a cook in the army, but I really set sights in the special forces as their criteria for joining are very different from academic qualifications. Finally, after 3 years of trainings and selection, I became one of the members of this elite force. Never give up, I say to myself every day. Soon, I handled operations and mission well enough at the height of my career, where it led me to believe that I could also do equally well in the private sectors. With that new goal in mind, I left the force after 10 years to start my car trade business. This was when I first welcomed my first downturn. With my eagerness to grow the car trade business, who would have thought that one day the markets would crash due to a shift in policy of restricting loans in 2013. From an elite in the force to nothing, I know some things went wrong. Looking back, this was because I was overconfident. I thought that my experience had prepared me for the real world, but I was proven wrong. Never give up. You will regain what you have lost. After taking this hit, I knew I needed to get back on my feet. With a mixture of hard work, creativity, and luck, I secured a large $1 million project. This time, I managed to bring on board external investors and ready to take the business to the next greater height. Because of the scale of this business, emotions were running high. It was an iconic project. Again, my ego blinded me to the honest advice of my friends and investors. I refused to budge, and so I walked down, and I walked out. There's this saying that bad things come in threes. Whether I believe it or not, the fall was greater than anything I could have imagined. I fell out with my investors, friends who believe in me, and the employees of the companies. This was everything collapsed. I went down from dengue fevers and hyperthyroidism. While still dealing with the fallout of my companies and the relationship, the hardest part was that most simple became the most difficult. Can you imagine how much difficult it was to deal with other problems when taking a breath already requires all of your strength? That's the time when I realized that I need strength to breathe a lot. Imagine the special forces in front of you can't even catch a breath. My mind. During the periods of recovery, I was forced to deeply on myself, reflect. I questioned if I could get back on my feet again. You see, in 2013, I lost money, but that was recovered with other businesses. But when I lost money, my health, friends, it was just so much harder. But one thing kept me rooted. Never give up. I thought at the time, what more could I have lost? Nothing could be worse than what I was experiencing. Never give up. You will regain what you have lost. Thankfully, I started to recover after years. The journey was slow, and painful. What you can see on the screen is a photo of me then. I regained my strengths and tried to be also regain my passions in business. With smart perseverance, I made a change and rejoined the workforce. This time round, I took a role that kept my ego in check. I worked under and learned from a few strong mentors who inspired me to eventually found Doxa in 2013. And today, we are 50 strong, and our pre-Series A, and now we are in the Series A. I thank you, the people that who believe in me and my vision. But again, never give up. Looking back, I persisted by learning from my mistakes. I became the person that I am now. I tempered my egos and overconfidence with the help from the people on my journey. And I am still constantly learning. Going forward, I try to gain back my losses, the most important which are the relationship that was lost. Here are some of the lessons that I have personally learned on this journey with high cost. You need a co-founders. Starting a company alone is not feasible. You really need at least one person to fight alongside with you. Don't fight the war alone. There are so many things to handle, like the company, FP&A, your HR, sales, business development, your visions, and many, many more. To have only one person to handle this is so much difficult. Money is never enough for startup. I have raised hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, but it's always not enough. You can see that the more you spend, the more you raise. In order to operate the business successfully, you need to be flexible to change your business model to adapt to the war zone of the markets to stay alive. Avoid big brands. Sometimes you may seem that tempting with the upsides of big brands, but in reality, they will drain you out over an extended period of times. There are so many stakeholders and different groups that you need to discuss with. They have long runways, but you don't. Fix dates for milestones and build events around it. This methodology helps to achieve milestones. Set the time so that there is no drag, no delays. Again, delaying is all about burning resources. Try to set dates and the certainty of events will rise. I would also like to share my observation about health. Too often, I see my friends, founders, co-founders burn out because of hard work. But in the startup world, it's a long journey. Many people think about mind over body, which as a special forces, you always train about mind over bodies. But to my opinion, it's about body over mind. Why is it? You need to have a strong body. With a strong body, you have a strong mind, and then you can build a strong mind to build your startup. Last but not least, never give up. Life is fleeting and you got to move forward. Gather yourself as soon as possible. Don't make giving up a choice or options that you won't give up breathing. There's a lose and gain. You may lose something, but you will regain what you have lost later. As a man who has experienced 2 downturns and countless of failures in life, the best advice I could give is to have grit. You must never give up. Believe in your own power. Take a deep breath. You will make a difference. There are 2 points that I always bear that in my mind that can encourage myself, and I do hope it helps. A lose and a gain. You may lose something, but you will sure gain from your lose. The second hands of the clock is always clicking. Your problem will eventually end. With this, thank you for your time.